Today I would like to talk about a group of people that are often misjudged and mischaracterized, the Neanderthals. When people talk about Neanderthals, they often seem to conclude that they were giant dumb brutes. Today I want to challenge that misconception though, and show you guys that Neanderthals are humans in many ways that may surprise you. We're going to explore Neanderthals in a new light today. I'll show you that they were human in many more ways than people often realize. I've been fascinated with anthropology, archaeology, and prehistory since a very young age, listening to experts on this subject and spending time researching it as well. It may be hard to care about something that disappeared thousands of years ago, but Neanderthals were much more like us than most would like to think. So today, I'll share who the Neanderthals were, how they cared for their dead and possibly even had religious beliefs, their impressive skills in hunting and tool making, and how they were human in truly many ways. So this leads to my first question: who were the Neanderthals? Neanderthals were our closest extinct human relatives, emerging at least 200,000 years ago in the continent of Eurasia. They lived there during and before the last ice age and during some of the harshest climates, which demonstrates an incredible adaptability and testament of humans. They had very similar anatomical features to us, suggesting that they may have even spoken. Studies of their hypoglossal canal and their hyoid bone suggest speech capability, and the presence of the FOXP2 gene that is also in us humans, which is responsible for language abilities. Next up, Neanderthals were not dumb. They controlled fire, they created shelters even, and innovated tools. They even practiced burial rituals, often marking their graves with flowers or other offerings, which leads people to believe that they may have had religious beliefs. Their tool-making technology involved shaping flakes off of chosen stone cores, a skill that required a lot of precision and effort to do. They crafted domestic tools for use within their shelters, and they also created hunting tools that take down large game and to prep the meats for consumption. Neanderthals also made loose-fitting clothing. Neanderthals collected beautiful objects like fossils, and they even used natural dyes to create art and paintings. They even had a flute-like object which was believed to be used for music that was found at a site in Slovenia. They also collected feathers, claws, and shells, which were most likely for the use of jewelry. Neanderthals also had distinct physical characteristics. They were more robust than us, with prominent brow arches, sloping foreheads, and no chin. Neanderthals were a smaller but thicker group of people who were adapted to the cold, so this is why they were built that way. Unlike modern humans, they would thrust their spears into animals instead of throwing them. This brought them very close to large game animals, which is very dangerous and resulted in bone fractures that were similar to rodeo riders of today. But these fractures often shown that healed over time, which showed that Neanderthals actually took care of each other. So this brings me to my next question. How human were Neanderthals? Well, Neanderthals weren't human in the way that me and you would define ourselves, but they were a subspecies within the Homo family tree. Although their features were different, studies show it's hard to distinguish many specimens of humans and Neanderthals when they're laid up next to each other, and that's from the Natural History Museum. Interestingly, Neanderthals also had larger skulls and brain cavities than humans. This did not mean that they were smarter though. This is just based back on how Neanderthals were built and how they had robust bodies, bigger bodies, so they had larger heads as well. The most compelling evidence though that they were very much like us is their DNA that we have found today. Many people of non-African or non-sub-Saharan African descent carry about 2% of the Neanderthal genome within themselves. This was a result of interbreeding between humans and Neanderthals that took place about 55,000 years ago. That's also according to the Natural History Museum. According to the biological species concept, two species can only be distinct if they cannot interbreed. since humans and Neanderthals interbred, this has led to a debate of whether they are actually a separate species or not. Okay, now while debates about the species classification continue, one thing is clear: Neanderthals were much smarter than we once believed in the credit that we've given them to. And so today we have discussed Neanderthals. We discussed who they were, what they did, and how they were remarkably similar to us humans. I hope you now see that Neanderthals are not as brutish and primitive as many people like to say and think, but as a people, they lived like us, and they lived complex lives filled with creativity, resilience, and connection. Thank you very much.